So, Editor Hito here. If I sound like I have a sore throat, it's because I do. But, Editor Hito here. If you're wondering why this podcast is severely cut in weird ways, you could blame internet for that one because my internet latency for that stream, for that podcast specifically, was very lazy. It decided to sleep on the job, and it didn't decide to tell me this, so we're going to have some very bad technical issues. There'll be probably a cut telling you when a technical issue happens. But even at the end of this podcast, it goes straight into the ending because dumb things happen with internet. So this is just Editor Hito here telling you what's what. And I hope you enjoy the rest of this podcast stream between me, MantleFerox, and AlexNorimaki. It was a pleasure to have them on this stream. And thank you. Enjoy the rest of the video. Bye. Hey guys, Hito Retro Gaming here. We're just having a few technical difficulties, you know, the new technology and stuff. Everything that's going on here. That's why everything is on the fritz today. But don't worry, I think I got the hang of technology today. Let's see. There we go. Hi guys, Hito Retro Gaming here today with another one of our Retrogade podcasts. How's everyone doing today? Alex and Mantle, thank you for the host. I appreciate it so much. Marzi, Sohn, Shell, Imagination Artist. See, there you go. My brain farted again. That's what happened. Guys, thank you so much for stopping on in. Today we are here today to talk about The Legend of Zelda. Mike, how are you doing today? Today is episode 2 of the Retrogade, and today I will be doing our whole thing, which is essentially, we're going to be looking at The Legend of Zelda from retro to modern today. And I can't do this one alone because as much as I enjoy The Legend of Zelda, I'm not the biggest Legend of Zelda buff. I've read the encyclopedia, and that's the best I could do along with the games I've played. And Marzi, you too, thank you for the bidos. Before I continue, let's see if I got this god-fangled thing going on. What? I thought I turned sound alerts off. I'm pretty sure I turned sound alerts off. There we go. That should do it. Alright. It's not working. I still heard it a little bit, but it's fine. I won't be as triggered today. Anyway, as you can see, I'm still setting up the cameras, so I'm going to introduce our first guest today. Our first guest is AlexNorimaki. She's an amazing streamer, and she does a lot of... Senpai, thank you for the raid! Our first guest is AlexNorimaki, and here, I'm going to get her camera set right now. Let's see if technology is working the best with us today. Nope, I'm just a dumb. There we go, hold on. There we go. Hey, Alex.
Hi. What, am I supposed to say something?
Yeah, like, plug yourself. Tell everyone who you are, how's it going, what today, what's your favorite food?
My name is AlexNorimaki. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. I am a variety content creator, a cosplayer, have my own podcast, and my favorite food is French fries.
French fries are delicious. Wait, what do you have your French fries with?
It depends on the fries, because if they're well seasoned, you don't need anything. But if they're like just moderately salted, ketchup.
So Marzi says, "Nice to meet you, Alex."
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. We have a lot of people here today, and yeah. Our second guest is MantleFerox, who is chilling in the back. I'm trying to get this camera thing working. Too much static. Don't you see just all of the static happening right now? Let's see. We are getting this started, and Mantle, you are online.
Hi everyone, I am MantleFerox, and this is my kitty Nudge, who decided he needed to appear right as Hito got the camera working. I am a marine biologist first and a gamer second. I am a variety broadcaster, although the joke is that I'm a Zelda broadcaster, so I guess that's part of why Hito figured it was good to have me here today. I am also a scuba diver, a cosplayer, same as Alex. I play all sorts of games, action adventure, like Zelda games are my favorite. I also love RPGs, and my favorite food is pizza.
pizza.
With what
And-
topping?
Whichever. I tend to use just the standard pepperoni and cheese as my litmus test to see how good a place is. But I like a very good variety of meats and cheeses.
I'm with
And
that.
also garlic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do have two kitties. They might appear today. This is Nudge, and if you see the stripy one, that's Link, both named after Zelda characters.
Sweet baby.
MMG Mike says from Mantle, ooh, marine biology. I love the ocean. Very fun area of science to look into.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. I primarily work in the husbandry side of it. Job-wise, I am unfortunately in between those because of the panini going on. But I have over 7 years of experience actively working in this, not including volunteer internship stuff.
Yeah, sadly the panorama just ruins everything.
Yeah, the Pandemi Lovato.
I like that.
I love
one too.
that one.
So yeah, this is Nudge. You'll see Nudge as well as Link. And Link just had a birthday yesterday. He's now old enough to borrow his own telescope.
Yay.
That's so cute.
And for those who don't know where Nudge's name comes from, Nudge is one of Tetra's pirates. He's the one who guards her quarters.
So
All right.
cute.
So we're talking Legend of Zelda. So this is a question I have for you two, also for chat as well, because I want all of you guys to also be able to interact with this as well as we are asking the question. What was the first Legend of Zelda game that introduced you to the series?
After you, Alex.
Me first? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, your name.
The first one that I was born in 97, so the series is older than I am. But the first one that I like remember having any sort of experience with was watching. I used to sit in my brother's room. He's 9 years older. Sit there with him and I'd watch him play whatever game he happened to be playing. And so the first one I watched was him play Ocarina of Time. And I came into his room as he was doing, I think, Lord Jabu Jabu's belly, if I remember right. And I just remember being like, what the heck are you doing? Like, this is disgusting. Why are you in a fish? And he's like, hey, sit down. Hey, sit down. Sit down real quick. Sit down. And I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be in here, dog. This looks kind of gross. And he's like, hey, it's just a fish. Just sit down. And then 12 minutes later, I'm like, why are there jellyfish everywhere? Why is this? Who is this clown you're carrying? Like, next thing I know, I'm all the way into it. And he's just like, yeah.
So
and that
just,
was it.
So he just sucked you in. That was the black hole that got you into the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, we're both giant Zelda nerds. It's like how we bonded growing up. It's always been something that the two of us have shared. And so it's been, yeah, definitely Ocarina of Time.
we got a few good answers in the chat, which is funny enough. We have so Shell Shock Prime says Link's Awakening, which I personally, that was my introduction to the Game Boy, since that was my first Game Boy Color game. Mike says Breath of the Wild. Someone says Legend of Zelda 1 for the NES. We have a lot of good answers here. Gold cart, no map. It came with a map when it was new, and it looks something like this. Just this gold cartridge. You mean this thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Mine's sitting over on the shelf there, and it's hard to use.
Mantle, you are the next one to answer this question. Which was the first Zelda game that sucked you in?
Well, hilariously enough, I first got sucked into Zelda even before I played Zelda, because I am a year older than the Zelda series. So as a late friend of mine, he was like my brother, and he and I were both as into Zelda as Alex and I are. His joke for me was, "Mantle, you were born before greatness." And since I'm very much the Impa archetype in our group of friends, especially Ocarina Impa, it kind of fits. But that means I'm 2 months older than the release of the NES. So I got my NES as my 5th birthday present, and I had this strategy guide called the NES Atlas, which has a whole bunch of different stuff for a whole bunch of NES games, including the Mario games, the Zelda games, DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, all sorts of stuff in there. So I was like, I would always read through this even if I didn't have the games. I was like, wow, this Zelda 1 and 2 look really cool. This is really awesome. But the first Zelda game I ever actually played was A Link to the Past, and that's what sucked me in. So I got it for the Super Nintendo, and I'm just, as with so many, especially for some of the top-down ones, is just, this is so cool.
Yeah.
I love this story. I love this world, and from there, I would just continuously follow anything in Nintendo Power. I didn't have a Game Boy until many years later, although hilariously enough, Link's Awakening came out on my 8th birthday. So I actually share a birthday with a Zelda game.
Yes.
Yes, I know. And
Oh, I wish.
yeah. And so I remember like following all this stuff in Nintendo Power for Ocarina of Time. So I have all those old issues with like the Ocarina beta looks and everything. So it's like even though Link to the Past was the first one I played, I was hooked no matter which came next. And next thing I was a Zelda fan before I knew it. And at this point, Hyrule is as much a part of me as Carbon is.
All
I
right,
agree.
so funny enough, not only were you born before greatness, but you share a birthday with another greatness for the handheld.
Oh, I do.
that
And
will do
the
that.
funny thing with that was one of the years that they were doing the Zelda Symphony, one of the cities I went to it in, the symphony was on my birthday. And they made sure that they played their new Link's Awakening medley advertising. Oh yeah, so also this is on this this little cartridge came out on this day, but they actually like recognized me from the stage thanks to the me recognizing their hint for one of their encore pieces. Not out of like a super obvious, but like, hey, they got it. As they saw my reactions.
God, I want to go see the symphony.
Oh, it's so
Definitely.
good. It's so good.
Also,
I was planning on going last year, but then Pandemic Lovato.
Well, see, Alex, part of what you and I were discussing last night about underrated music, the symphony is part of what helped boost that for me. Let's put it that way. And I think it would do the same for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, hi, Grayson.
Hi, Grayson.
All right, so the game that sucked me into Legend of Zelda was Link to the Past. It was my first. Hi, Deds. How's it going? I hope you guys are doing great.
Welcome in, everyone.
Welcome in, everyone. Just how's it going? But my first one, I'm wearing it on my shirt today. Seriously, Link to the Past was like one of my favorite ones to start out with. The only, I mean, it was my first one to start with because I started with an SNES when I was like 3. And so with my SNES, I was just like, okay, well, we got Legend of Zelda. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm lost. Why are these guards sticking these pointy... Oh, wait, those are swords. That's what these are. Okay, hold on a sec. I was 3. I didn't know better, okay?
Well, see, that's still precious to me because if we're talking about video games, though, even though I got my NES for my 5th birthday, that was not the first console I played. My first one was my dad's Atari 2600. And then he still has it home and it still works because I would like play pinball and all sorts of stuff on that. But if we're going arcade though, I actually played Super Mario Brothers before I got an NES because they had one of the old like 2-sided CRT like versus machines with Excite Bike on one and Mario on the other at a little local pizzeria. So I already knew a bunch of levels in Super Mario Brothers before I even got my ultimate NES set.
Here's the thing though, Mansell.
It was so fun.
SNES was the first console I owned. My mother was a gamer and she had an Atari 2600. And I had to play it when I was 2 because she was like, oh, come on. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just turning the knob. It's fine. And I'm just like, I'm just poking it little by little. I'm just like, what is this thing? Like, I'm 2. I don't know what this does. But the game that sucked me in was Link to the Past. I enjoyed the game a lot. And I also was always trying to find that room, that special rupees room.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was looking all over for it. I'm like, where the hell is this room? Morningstar, thank you for the host. I appreciate it. But overall together, like that was like one of my favorite games, along with Earthbound and Super Mario World. Like Earthbound was just crazy, and Super Mario World was like the staple. My cousin actually came in with a whole bunch of cartridges in a Reebok box, and he's like, listen, I've outgrown these. Take them. And and one of the games in there was the Legend. Like I didn't even buy a game. I only bought. Okay, so TLDR, my first game for the SNES was technically Wheel of Fortune and Scooby Doo because my mom was like, "Oh, these are cute games. You watch Wheel of Fortune with us and Scooby Doo. Look at that." And I'm like, okay. But
hey, the Wheel of Fortune on N64 was pretty decent at least. But no, one thing I did want to say though is that while I know we usually call it Super Mario Brothers, but yeah, technically the as Sonia points out, technically the arcade one is versus Super Mario Brothers. There are some differences between that and the console one, and you can't actually get that in the arcade archives on the Switch. And that was one of the first things I downloaded once they released it because it was just, you know, I have this on my cartridge and multiple other things, but this is the game I played in the arcade. I would like this, please. My nostalgia's yes.
But yeah, So it took literally the whole Reebok box. I looked through it. There's Legend of Zelda. There's Super Mario World. There's Pilot Wings, which to this day I never want to play again because we went from Flight Club, fun, awesome. I'm learning how to fly a plane and using a hang glider to we got to save the mayor from terrorist attacks, use the attack helicopter and save everybody. I'm like, that went from 0 to 100 very quickly.
Relax.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, I would just rent Pilot Wing 64 and like, watch out the cannon.
Which there was also the first mission, which was, hey, so you remember the instructors that taught you something? Yeah, they got kidnapped by a terrorist group. We don't know the name of this terrorist group, but we gotta be careful. And I'm like, what happened to the rings and the hang gliding? What happened to skydiving? What happened to the rocket belt?
Why? Fun stuff. What went wrong?
But yeah, so that was how I got my first Legend of Zelda game, and to this day I couldn't put it down. I finally beat it when I was 5, and I'm like, I feel achievement. It was one of the first games that I ever beat at the age of 5. I beat Super Mario World, and I beat Legend of Zelda, and I was like, I felt like I needed the kid equivalent of a smoke and a very cold shower.
The Capri Sun and a shower.
There you go.
a Capri Sun and a nap.
God, I should have got a Capri Sun. I have some. I actually bought some.
Yes. Save it.
I really bought some from Target the other day.
Oh, nice.
Treat yourself.
Right.
And see, Alex, this is also just having me more hyped for once I get to visit you, since I know your city has some really cool arcades in it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yo, so speaking of arcades, funny enough, we had Son and Mikon in our chat yesterday when we were just playing the Nuzlocke challenge. They brought up a really cool arcade in Chicago that has over 700 arcade cabinets. That's you know the name. You know the name already.
I've never been to it, but a former friend of mine was kind of obsessed with it. And I'm grateful he at least shared that with me. Oh, and that he introduced me to my really awesome friends who I still have.
Like, legitimately said that there's a whole building apart from it that's just 300 pinball machines. Like,
that sounds lit.
Like, I want to make a road trip one day just to go to Chicago, just to go to Galloping Ghosts. Because that looks like a crazy place. They have all the original, arcade games, a majority of the original arcade games. I don't know if they have every single one, but you know what? Stone and Mikon, tooted their horn on that arcade, and I'm like, damn, all we had was Chinatown Fair, and I'm disappointed now.
I mean, they have every right to toot their horn on it, because, like I said, I've never been to it, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about it.
All right, so the next question. This is gonna be, we're gonna go from 0 to 100 very quick. What was your saddest Legend of Zelda moment? And this time we'll start with Mantle on that one.
For me, that's a toss-up. The initial one, and I will say this though, both of these I'm not going to give the entire context because these are later in the games and therefore have spoilers, and I don't want to assume that anyone has played it, whichever one. The first one is part of the ending of Skyward Sword.
Valid.
I absolutely love Skyward Sword. It is my third favorite Zelda game. It is my third favorite game of all time. I love it a ton, and it is basically the events surrounding a couple of characters at the end of the game. I'm starting to get emotional just thinking about it. And you've beaten the game, so there's a lot of happy there too, but it surrounds other aspects of it for sure. The other one for me is another toss-up, is when you get the 13th, the secret memory from Impa in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it was a rough one.
Yeah.
That one for me was rough on 2 counts, because part of it does tie into my other sad moment. The other part is just everything surrounding that memory, and sorry, it still really affects me. I mentioned that I had a very close friend who was as into Zelda as you and me, Alex. He did unfortunately pass away about a year and a couple months before Breath of the Wild came out, because cancer sucks. he knew the game was coming out, but he didn't know what the title of it was. And I'm very much am similar to the Impa in our friend group, he was the Link in our friend group.
Mhm.
And considering what happens in that scene, there's not
Mhm.
only the in-game connection, there's the real life connection. And I just broke down and sobbed.
Oh, I cannot even imagine.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So sorry for that, everyone.
No,
But I mean, there's a
listen.
No, yes.
No, let it.
this series means a lot to me, both in the world as well as with the friends I've met from it. I mean, I've met a bunch of my closest friends, like Alex. Alex and I first bonded thanks to Zelda, and it
Mhm.
was suddenly like just this punctuated jump of, is this a friendship? And yes, it was. I met my best friend thanks to it, and she and I have known each other for over 10 years now. And yeah, just so even without the outside factors, the in-game stuff was still enough to really hit me, but the out-of-game stuff just augmented it. So
Yeah.
I will say this. This is actually why I wanted both of you on the thing, because I know you guys have strong emotional ties to The Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know for a fact that this is a series that is near and dear to your heart. So always feel free to, like, if you're feeling that emotion, it is fine. You are loved and enjoyed here, and you know what? This place is a place for you to just express yourself and have a good time. Or if you're or if you're having a sad moment, express that, and you know what? You get all the bear hugs.
But yeah, those would be my two. There are plenty more, but for me, it's a toss-up between those two.
Understandable. And Alex, it is your turn.
I don't know. Mine don't seem as sad now.
They're still valid. They're still sad.
They're still valid.
Okay. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm actually a crybaby. I say it all the time.
And see, I'm not. So if that makes you feel better,
I cry a lot over very small things. And the first time I played Twilight Princess and beat it, I 100% cried, because if you know, with Midna. And I was already excited. I was like, holy crap, look at her, she's gorgeous. And then she's like ripped away from me 3 minutes later. And I don't know why. It was like I've been on this amazing character development journey with her for the past God knows how long it took me to beat the game the first time. And I was like sad. It was like, you know the feeling when you've been binging a show for a really long time and then you finally beat it, or not beat it, you finally finish it, and now you're in a show hole. It was the same thing for me. I was like,
oh, that's very valid with so many games. I mean, Alex, I'm sure you get that with a bunch of games. It's like you've been on this journey.
Yeah.
Been in this world. And see, that's part of why sometimes I'll delay beating games, because I don't want
I don't want it to. And so, like, for me, when it came out, I was still like a kid. Well, not like a kid, but I don't even remember when it came out. I was like, younger. And my
2006.
Yes, no, I was a kid. I was
a senior in university.
So my we had a rule in my house growing up, right? We couldn't play video games during weekdays, so we only play it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'd have to wait to get home to be like, oh God, I miss Midna and I miss this entire story. So it took me forever to beat the game. And so by the time I beat it, I was like, I miss her banter, and I miss her being absolutely useless sometimes. And quite frankly, I'm sad that she did that to me, because in my mind, I was like, well, she's never coming back. And I mean, to this day, she hasn't, like, not in any like substantial way.
The way that if it helps out, I mean, yes, it was sad, because I felt the exact same you did, because it's like, I understand it, I know where she's coming from, but it's just still my heart. To me though, it really encapsulated what the entire Zelda series is about, because not only is Link saving the world, he's having these adventures, he's making these bonds, and she became one of his closest companions and a really, really amazing friend.
Yeah.
No matter where either of them are, that bond, that friendship is still there.
It is.
And that's part of like what helps me after the initial, okay, here's the emotions.
Yeah, I think for me it was just like it's up until that point, that was like one of the best companions he'd ever had. You know what I mean? And I still think she's high up on that list.
Oh,
And so for me, I was
yeah,
like,
I love each of them, but she absolutely is. For me,
she's
it's like
very high on
I
that list.
have my Triforce of companions, and hysterically enough, they're all in my top 3 games.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was just
But
like,
yeah, no, for
I don't know
sure.
why it hit me so hard, but it hit me kind of hard the first time.
Oh no,
Only
no,
the first time. Every time after that, I just look away. I just don't
well,
watch the
it's because
cutscenes.
yeah, no, for what it's worth, it hit me just as hard. So
Yeah,
even if I didn't share that one, it is absolutely right there.
yeah, it was rough.
So Mika Apache asks, what about Groose?
He's not a companion.
What about him?
He's an amazing character, has fantastic development, and is certainly an ally, but he's not a companion character. By
He
companion,
doesn't make me cry either.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he doesn't make me cry.
Yeah.
Bruce,
Like, I love
Bruce is
Bruce.
awesome.
I love Bruce.
Yeah. No, I love him. I had fun voicing him. I love his development. I love your big dumb brute who does realize how powerless he is, but then still tries to find his own way of helping.
His own place. Yeah,
Exactly.
I love the like the initiative he took.
Oh yeah,
I think he's adorable.
Yeah, by companion, we're absolutely talking about like companion who sticks with you for the entirety of your journey, not just your ally who does help you, but isn't there. Like for example, Darunia. I mean, he's your brother, but he doesn't go on the journey with you.
Listen,
He didn't do nothing. He didn't help me. Not once.
Listen,
he gave you. He was able to give you that stone.
He tried to kill me with his hugs. I'm not letting that go.
I want his hugs,
you're not gonna
though.
let that go from me either. I'm totally gonna Goron hug you when we meet.
Same.
I'm not gonna let it go.
I love Gorons. I love Gorons.
Okay, well I won't let you go then.
Oh, so 2 questions got put in, but before I go into those questions, my saddest Legend of Zelda moment, and this is the one that probably hit my heart the most because when I grew up with the GameCube, I loved Wind Waker a lot. So leaving Grandma by herself on the island, and you're just like,
and the music.
Like you have the music, but not only that, just before that, your sister.
It gets me more and more each time.
Like,
wow.
You know, you just had your sister got kidnapped by a bird, and I'm like, you damn turkey, let my sister go. I'm going to shove my. You know what? It's fine. I'll go on the ship with the pirates. And then Grandma's like, here's the shield. And I'm like, Grandma, don't do this, please. And then when you come back, to the island,
it's the come back and she's sick thing for me.
I was just
like, I don't need to see this.
I was just like, this is not. I played Wind Waker recently, and I had the mistake of doing that because my actual grandparents passed away last year, and I'm just like,
no.
It hit me.
No.
It hit me. It hit me really hard. I actually started crying.
My grandmother is getting older and not doing as great, so yeah.
So,
yeah, same for me. Like, I'm gonna go visit her at the end of this month, and so for me, I'm like, I've missed her because I've been able to see her in like a year now. So I just played it. We just beat Wind Waker on my stream, I think like 3 weeks ago, something like that. And so we got to that part, and I was like, I've said this every time I've played it. They have to put this in here. There are other ways.
there are 2 pieces of media that never fail to make me call my grandmother as soon as I can, and that is the interaction with Grandma in Wind Waker, and dealing and talking to the wonderful old woman in Kiki's delivery service.
Oh,
yeah, and especially after the granddaughter is a bit of a brat. So yeah, that. Yeah.
You know what was oddly sad to me? I know this is very small, and like if you don't know to look for it, you'll miss it. But when like like right after you have the cutscene where Ganon chases Zelda out of the castle with Impa in Ocarina of Time, and then if you go back into Castle Town, there's that guard that dies behind, like in the back alley kind of thing. Okay, like the first time I didn't even know it was back there. I was just like looting around in the back and happened upon this dude sitting down. And the way he like dropped dead, I was like, wait, hold on. This is rated E. Like, why are we doing this in this game right now? Like, I was like, that was way too realistic for me. Way too realistic. And I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah, for me, I was just like, for me, it's like I already knew the impact of it, but that just hammered it in further. And
I did not like that.
Hey, if it helps, when time goes back, it's before that.
I mean, yeah, but like,
I know,
I had to see it.
Oh, I know, it still hurts. It still hurts. But no, to me, that's one of those things. I'm kind of glad that it's not like super obvious because I feel that makes it more impactful as it's not even an Easter egg, just more of like to go look for it.
Yeah, it's
BTW.
like they don't make you see it. Like you just have to
Exactly.
happen upon some
Exactly.
environmental sadness. Like it's
Absolutely.
BTW, Mikan made me talk to the guard apparently, because I just remembered that whole thing too. It just made me talk to that guard. So I'm just like, why would you
I
make
know
me
it's
do
sad,
that?
but I'm glad they made you do that though.
Yeah,
like-
like it's something you should experience, but at the same time, it's like Jesus.
Also, hello,
Yeah.
Dorky Demo, welcome. And we're going to continue that question earlier that we were going into about companions, because Senpai asked a really good question on opinions for that, and also Mikan also asked, which fairy do you prefer? But first, Senpai's question, how do you feel about the companion from the Minish Cap?
I love
I remember nothing about
Eslo is great. I love Minish Cap. It is also very highly ranked for me, but then again, I love all 20 canon Zeldas. Eslo is fantastic. He is again another companion who he does really look after you, but he's not gonna coddle you. He helps remind you about stuff. But no, Eslo, I like him. He's a cool companion. He does help. He has that great sense of humor, that banter with Link, and again, seeing their bond and how that continues on through the game from their initial encounter to when they say goodbye. That is, Eslo, he's not in my top 3, but he is a wonderful companion, and I always get happy every time I hear Hwah!
I need to replay it. I've only played it once, and I was little when I played it.
Yeah, it was an amazing game. It came out when I was in uni, and I replayed it on stream last year, and it reminded me of how much I love it. It's a great game.
Yeah, I lost my copy in like the move when we moved to our new house, and so I just haven't touched it since.
Well, here's a question for you: do you still have your Wii U? You can get the Minish Cap on the Wii U eShop.
Well,
still.
I have my modded Wii, and it already has it on. I just haven't touched it.
There you go. Then.
For some reason.
Also, now here's the debate, which is going off in chat right now.
How's it a debate? It's a question.
No. Like, we have Navi versus Tattle. Which one would you prefer on your side?
Okay. Because I get asked this question a lot.
Yeah,
and
same.
Everybody hates my answer. I actually like Tattle better. And I say this because she's more... You get more personality out of Tattle than you ever do out of Navi. Navi's cool. Do not get me wrong. I do love her. Absolutely. She's very great. But you don't get like a whole lot of personable dialogue out of her. Almost everything she says is functional. She doesn't really say anything just to be herself. I don't really get to know anything about her, as opposed to Tattle, who comes off aggressive off rip.
Tattle, but she's
got like, she has her own character development as much as, you know, they were given to the fairies.
She absolutely does.
She's family. Like,
honestly, I would argue that both of them are family. But no, for what it's worth, Alex, I'm not going to hate you for that answer. I love that answer, even though I prefer Navi. I love both of them. Twitch has been active on my friends'
hold on, I can check. Let me check. There's one way I can check real quick.
Okay. Because if it's me, I know Spectrum has a habit of being, hey, sweetie.
No, some of these other streams are doing the same thing. It's not. I don't think this is you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely looking more like a Twitch thing. And furthermore,
yeah, like this ad is buffering. Yeah. On a different stream. I don't think this is you. You might want to give it a second.
No, part of it. As I say, let's see. I'm going to blame Spectrum right now because they just laid off a good friend of mine.
God,
so.
I have Spectrum, and I mean, we had to suffer.
Well, I had a friend who, one of my closest friends. I was chatting with her last night. That's part of why I was late to talk to Hito. She worked for a local news station and then got bought up by Spectrum.
Yeah, my ad is buffering on your stream here. My ad's buffering now too. Yeah.
She's one of their graphic designers, one of their graphic artists, and they don't know what she did, so they laid her off. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, enjoy all of your stuff looking like crap now.
Right?
The good news though is that she gets a nice severance, but
so
okay, looks like we're back, even if we're still buffering.
Yeah, we're buffering.
Yeah, I'm stuck on this ad. Let me see. Yeah. Like, it just stops. Like, it's not even loading. It just pauses and freezes. Oh, great. Look, another ad.
Yeah, this
okay, this one looks better.
This looks like a Twitch. It's Twitch. A quick speed test and check my upload.
Of course it is.
I actually did that already. My upload's fine. That's the funny enough. My upload is fine.
It's
not me.
It's not you.
It's not
there's
me
nothing.
this
There's
time.
nothing wrong with checking it though. I mean, you were able to absolutely
No,
confirm that, even
I
though
just
we
did
had a
it.
feeling.
I just did it right now. My upload speed's fine. Everything else is working too. It is the Twitch. I can change Twitch servers.
Twitch simply imploded because Alex and I wholeheartedly agreed on fairies despite our slight preferences.
Right.
Instead of two of us having a smackdown over it. But see, that's the thing, though, is that you're not going to see a smackdown here. Alex and I, we might not be. I mean, our Venn diagram might be like so overlapping. It looks like a mostly one circle. But
the way I see it is like we can all have our preferences on Zelda
absolutely.
stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like I know so much about it. I can always see like, okay, I see why you get this, and I see why you get this.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah,
there's very few, like very little things in the series where I'm just like, no, hard stop. It's this and nothing else. Like
absolute same. Absolute same. Well, for me, the big one for that, especially is people. Oh well, the big thing, especially for me, is especially when people try to like deny canon, and it's just no, the canon's right flipping here. Get over yourself. You don't know the creators.
It's a lot of people who come in and they're like, this timeline doesn't make any sense, and I'm like,
the timeline makes absolute sense. It's not my fault you're too stupid to understand it. I don't say that in so few words, but
like they like. I think the argument I've gotten a lot though is like, it doesn't make any sense, and I don't get these forks and everything. And I was like, it's a fork. Just fork it off. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Literally just hit it, ocarina, fork it off. Like, Alex, I don't know what to tell you.
You would love this, Alex. I know that you and our schedules don't always match up, but because the timeline comes up on my channel so much, I actually have a command ! Timeline. And it shares the timeline there.
I might as well.
And the reason I have that is because, as you and I both know, I mean, yeah, you and I can both explain it blindfolded, upside down, sideways, and it still makes sense. But some people are visual, so having that there, no, the timeline absolutely makes sense. And for some people, are like, oh, but Breath of the Wild, Nintendo's been coy about it. It's not been confirmed, so get over yourselves. We just know it's in the distant future. But
Alan Numa like specifically stated, he said the game was built to be able to exist on any one of these timelines.
Yeah,
he's like, don't ask questions. I don't have any. I don't have any answers.
To me, I love that coy answer in that it can be, but it's still not 100% confirmed.
Yeah,
and it makes the most sense in the child timeline for various reasons on the other two. And my general stance is, I feel it is most likely after this one. But I know it can totally come after any of the three, but Nintendo hasn't confirmed it. And
I went biologically with it because of the different species that you have in Breath of the Wild as opposed to the other ones.
Here's the thing though, as a biologist here, I also go biologically on it. Because remember, here's the thing, look at the Rito in Breath of the Wild versus in Wind Waker. They look so much more like the Zora in Wind Waker, whereas they look very much avian in their own in Breath of the Wild. Now, did they split off from the Zora or did they arise on their own? Because here's the thing, this is still Hyrule. That evolution can still happen, even if not in the same timeline. So that's part of why we have all these different monsters and everything is still there.
Yeah. So
it's like you'll have stuff that appears in either of the adult or the fallen timeline, but not as much in the child timeline, because it's still Hyrule. Those animals can still exist.
It's just the way I see it is, I chalked it up to like convergent evolution. Convergent or divergent, depending on the species for me.
Yeah. And the other thing is that the Fallen Hero timeline doesn't make as much sense because Hyrule's borders were shrinking. And as we know, there's a whole bunch of lore with that. The adult timeline would be cool, but there's absolutely no mention or proof of them draining the rule. They've already moved on to New Hyrule. Yeah,
the timeline makes sense in my head. But I drew it out one day and I was like,
well, to me, this goes here. Me, it's like I read it and it makes perfect sense. But no, Alex, I'm right there with you. So you and I can always smack down on people who try to argue it.
Thank you for the bits.
I hate the most though is
Izzy, thank you for the bits. I appreciate it.
The one that I hate the most, though, Alex, is the people who try to act like they know better than the game creators and developers, and I'm just, shut up.
Oh my god, I got somebody who came in one time, and they wanted to sit there and argue with me about the usage of Sheikah technology in Breath of the Wild, and they were like, it's supposed to be completely medieval, and I was like, dog, it's not like they're running nuclear power through this bike Link is on, you clown. First off,
It's not.
You can have technology and still be medieval.
Exactly.
Trebuchets are technology.
Exactly.
Hell,
Like
technically
I don't understand what the problem is.
Ballistas are technology.
No, because even more so on that gets me a little frustrated too. Because when you think about it, it's like we had an industrial revolution, we had an Iron Age, we had Age of Technology, and that still counts within the timeline.
Hell, you
so
can argue
even
that
if
swords are technology.
exactly, like come on,
See,
it's a sharp stick. It's a sharp stick.
The big thing that they're forgetting, and especially since Alex and I are both scientists, I'll phrase it best from my high school physics class. Science is a way of knowing. Technology is a way of doing. So
science only explains it, and so just because it doesn't match the type of science we have here, doesn't. And they haven't gone into explicit detail, to my knowledge, of exactly how Sheikah technology
and that's the cool
they have to a certain thing. And so it's like, as far as I'm concerned, it could just be a bunch of like magical technology, as far as you should be concerned.
The fact that even our big researchers, Pura and Robbie, can't even figure it all out, that to me shows the more coolness about it. And honestly, if people want to bring the real world into it, fine. We're still figuring out how ancient societies did a bunch of stuff. It's the exact same parallel.
Ancient societies had more technology than we gave them credit for.
Absolutely.
And it was just lost.
And we the thing is what happens is we look at these things full of microchips, and this is what we think of as technology. A horse-drawn wagon is still technology.
It's relative.
So Sage actually threw in a theory about Hyrule is on Earth.
That's a hypothesis.
Yeah.
Big difference. And especially since Alex and I are both scientists, I will say this. Here's the difference between a theory. A theory, and this is not me saying it's Sage, this is me saying in general, a theory is not a wild idea. A theory is something that has multiple ideas behind it that can be supported, and you can attempt to disprove it. So almost any fan so-called theory is actually a fan hypothesis, where they have one idea, linking it, and then they need to attempt to prove or disprove. Ergo, most of what we discuss, especially in popular media, are hypotheses, not theories. But for me, I feel Hyrule is very much, it has parallels to Earth, but I feel that it's on a different Earth, which is not ours, like a completely different.
Yeah.
It could be basically one of the many alternate universes that Earth is already on, technically speaking.
That's it. Yeah, something like that.
It could be an Earth-like planet.
Ooh, so we actually have.
I feel it absolutely. It has to be on a planet because that's how life
absolutely.
So I actually have another question for you guys, and this is gonna tune into a few things. Now, favorite handheld Legend of Zelda game? One that was not on a console, one that's on the handheld. I know, technically speaking, and I know technically you can count Breath of the Wild because technically you can just pick up the Switch and go for it. But for
me, I love each of them. Again, I love all the Zelda games, but for me, it would have to be A Link Between Worlds.
I haven't played it yet, and I heard it's amazing.
Alex, it's literally So Alex, if you enjoyed Link to the Past, it's a big throwback to that game as well.
That's what I've heard.
So it's definitely a nice little throwback to it, which is really cool.
It's like one of the few I've never touched, and I know I need to play it.
No, for me, Link Between Worlds, and again, for any of my rankings, because I have played all 20 canon Zelda games. I love each of them. They're all amazing. And part of what tapering back to another point when Twitch was being twitchy before I dive back into this, similar to any of you, as soon as if anyone can come into my channel and say, oh, this is my favorite Zelda game, and I'll say, yes, that's an amazing one. Just because one of them happens to rank number 20 for me, it doesn't mean that it's my least favorite. It's just my 20th favorite. I love each of them, and there's different things I like about each. But to me, Link Between Worlds, while I like Link to the Past a little bit better still for story as well as gameplay, in some ways, Link Between Worlds gameplay-wise is better, and it should be because it's so much newer. It takes place some few hundred years after Link to the Past, and while, yes, it is a different Link, because that Link already had his 4 adventures, and he's already had his 4 adventures. This is some few hundred years after. It's the same Hyrule, and it's that really amazing fusion of both nostalgia and brand new stuff in it. And it's not even a fresh coat of paint. It's a breath of fresh air into a familiar world that we both grew up in.
Yeah.
And there are, story-wise and gameplay-wise, there are many things I like better about Link Between Worlds, even though Link to the Past still wins it for me, not because of nostalgia, because nostalgia lenses, I have them, but I don't use them when I'm objectively looking at stuff. For me, it's out of some of the other added aspects of the stories, but again, not going to jump into that. So no spoilers, just in case for anyone. But it's some of the gameplay, the story, the new characters, and just it. God, it's so good.
Okay.
It's so damn good. My
Yeah,
second
I need
favorite.
to try it.
I do have a second favorite one, but yeah, my favorite one would be Link Between Worlds, and
All right.
Alex, you're gonna love it.
Before we go into this, Twitch is starting to work a little bit. I don't want to jinx it, but it's working. But we have it in the green again, at least. So that's the good news there.
Excellent.
Also,
come on, bitrate.
Just to catch up with chat, just for a minute, Waba's like, "Holy shit, Hito, you legend! How did you get these two together?" My answer to this is literally just gonna say it is friendship and insomnia.
I love you, Waba.
So big rip on that insomnia piece for me.
But you also got to remember though, Alex and I like have this eternal Zelda bond, and it's just a matter of our schedules matching up.
That is the big one.
But we also have more to this whole thing. So let's see. Just want to catch up with Chev. Sage says, if you look at the stars between Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild, you will see constellations. I'm like,
you do, but that's part of the thing is it's more of like it's more of that's more of an Easter egg than it is actually like evidence of where we are. And I'm glad you mentioned those constellations though, because not a lot of people do realize those. But no, the constellations, it's more of an Easter egg for people who do choose, because that's one of the big things, especially with even I know Alex and I both experienced this a lot with Breath of the Wild. Well, absolutely, it is a canon game, an amazing game, and it shows where it has come like way in the future, past a bunch of events. There's also a bunch of Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And Easter eggs, that doesn't mean that breaks canon. No, just things, those names and locations can still exist. I mean, those names still can happen no matter where you are. But just, yeah, the constellations are more of an Easter egg. And who's to say? I mean, while it's an infinitesimally small chance, even if it's a different world or a parallel one, you're still going to get constellations. And if you make them look like something we already know, that's going to be an added connection to the player. If you just say, hey, here's a unique constellation that you have no idea what is, people aren't going to get that. They're not going to be able to make a connection. So that's part of why they added the ones in that we know. It's more of a like, hey, if you want to look up at the sky, please enjoy.
Stars.
There is more. There is more. Let's see what's going on here for a sec, because I feel so bad that I'm also leaving chat on red. I love the theories that are being. I love all of the theories and all of the hypotheses. I got you. But I'm also including the fact. But I'm also including the fact of timeline theories as well too. Everything that's being thrown in.
There's no. I'm just gonna say it. There is no theory for the timeline. The timeline is set. The timeline is canon.
But even more so on that, let's see. Nothing tells a woman you love her than giving her a trebuchet. I mean,
honestly.
Yes. Sage says hell in Skyward.
Croft proved that in the new Tomb Raider games.
That is true. Sage says hell in Skyward Sword. You're practically shoving a giant USB into a port, and also adds this into it. And the blue lady in Skyward Sword isn't she basically Siri?
Sage, you're killing me with this one. Oh my god.
You're awesome, Sage.
I love this so much.
Sage is the best.
I want to know if Link's motorcycle will be in future games. Mikon asked that question. I'm like, I mean, yes, it should
probably
be.
In the second Breath of the Wild.
Second Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, but I don't know how they're gonna. Well, you know how Nintendo does. They can have something that's still in the same series and it's completely different from the other ones in said series. So
I loved how they took a bonus thing from Link's very non-canon appearance in Mario Kart 8 and reworked it for the Breath of the Wild style technology in a very fitting way. And I know even then some people might argue motorcycles are too high tech. No, you look at bicycles, there was very much there's very much older bicycle technology and stuff that works with that. And at this point, this is so much simpler than a divine beast.
So we got a good question.
The only canon thing it's appeared in so far is the first Breath of the Wild. It could appear in the second one, whether on its own or DLC, it's yet to be seen. But I'm excited.
So we got a really good question here, and I'm actually curious about this for you two as well. Meek and Patchy asks, I have a question for the two guest hosts. What are their thoughts on the CDI Zelda games?
Trash!
They're hysterically bad, non-canon, and good for memes. The biggest highlight of this, non-canon.
The trash. I said what I said. Like they're so bad.
That's one of those reasons that the CDI games I feel is part of why Nintendo's so protective about their properties now.
Nintendo really said we gave you one shot and this is what you came back with. We should sue you retroactively for what you've done.
Honestly, yeah. It's just I think they had a good idea going, but the execution was just horrific and frankly
I can't.
You can't. So let me guess. We killed you.
Literally, for me, I was like sitting here looking at this because I refuse to play it. I've got better things to do with my time. But I sat there and watched a playthrough of it, and I was like, "Hey, yo, is this like real? This looks like the first time I saw it, I was legitimately convinced this was like some YouTube joke that somebody was sending me for no reason, and I was like, this is a real thing. Why would you do something so disrespectful? This is so bad."
Yeah.
Shell Shock Prime. We do not speak of them.
We don't.
Thank you, Shell Shock.
We literally don't. Somebody came into my stream like last week and was like, "What's the worst Zelda game you've ever seen?" And I was like, "The CDI."
For me, yeah, people always try to ask me, well, where do those fit in your rankings? And I'm just, fuck off.
They don't.
Okay, I'm not that mean about it, but I'm just like, they don't. I mean, look at what it says here. Canon rankings.
They're garbage, yeah. They're absolute basura. They don't deserve to exist. I can't believe I let my eyeballs bear witness to that. I'm so sorry to my retinas.
I will say,
honestly, the only thing I really enjoy about it at this point is there's this emote that me and some of my closest friends use of the CDI Zelda just smiling, and it says "good" underneath it with the way she goes "good." That one's funny.
I will say this for the matter: those 3 games will not be in the tier list that we have for our little exercise today. So, yeah, we're gonna literally be safe right now. We'll be safe. Your retinas will be safe, Alex. I promise you.
I swear to God, like there's very little. There are very few games on this earth that I can definitively say that I wish I had never been a part of, and that is one of them. Like, why?
They are
my
not...
heart.
Oh, so I love how I was like, they are not canon. They aren't real. There is no war.
They can't hurt you. It's not real.
There is no war in Hyrule.
Oh my God. The CDI Zelda game can't hurt you. It's not real. Okay.
Because Ocarina Zelda's dad unified it, so.
Oh God, that hurt.
All right, so back to that question about favorite handheld Legend of Zelda game.
Oh, yeah, that's what we were talking about. I literally told y'all this last night, which is kind of like contradictory because my answer is Spirit Tracks, but for very specific reasons. Okay, Spirit Tracks is not even like in my top 3 favorite Zelda games, but it is a really the way I play my 3DS, right, is very casual, very I'm in bed minding my business, right? Yeah. And so if I'm doing that, Spirit Tracks is a great game for it because I don't have to put a whole lot of effort into it, and it's very calm and it's very relaxing, and like the music is really chill, and so I can play that anytime on my 3DS. In bed. Like it's just I don't have to do a whole lot.
That's cozy, and let's face it, that's part of what Zelda is. And for
it's a very cozy game.
I'm so glad you mentioned that though, because for what it's worth, everyone, Spirit Tracks is my 2nd favorite handheld game.
It's nice. I think. I also have there's good memories associated with it. I have this thing where I associate memories in my life with the music that was playing in the background, and so I have very good memories of the train music, like when you're on the train traveling around by yourself, right? And it was snowing at my grandma's house, and I was in bed, and it was 5 a.m, and I had just woken up, and I was like, I just want to play Zelda. And so I'm vibing in bed and fireplace. I was chilling.
Especially with the Anuki, that's extra hyper cozy, and I love that.
Waba, why would you send that? Why would you send that link? Are you trying to kill us today?
I'm not watching that. You can't, baby.
Nope. So Waba has sent us a 60 frames per second version of the CDI, and
I don't need to see that.
Just for censorship, I'm just gonna play it in the background, but you won't see anything because you know what, the static hides it really well.
Be able to hear it potentially, so don't do that.
Yeah, that I think we're safe. We're safe. We are safe. We are safe. It can't hurt me. Hero of trains.
That's not his title. That's not his title. That's something that is stupidly popular online.
Oh god, I'm still laughing at it though. Read above text. What just happened? Wait, what? Oh, hold on. CDI Zelda games HD YouTube videos aren't real. They can't hurt you. 60 frames per second, 4K YouTube. They can't hurt you. RTX on. Oh no!
Stop.
4K.
I'm not putting the 3070 through that. No.
Oh god.
She was not made for such lowly things. Leave her out of this.
Hito, so what is your favorite handheld?
So it's not my first one, which would be Link's Awakening. I enjoyed Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening was like the fever dream that I needed to happen because it's like I love it, and having Marin as a very, very cool playable character in Hyrule Warriors was like,
oh gosh,
one of my favorites to happen because I was just like, I thought I dreamt this, but no, this was great.
No, I love her moveset. I love her moveset so much.
My actual favorite handheld is Oracle of Ages.
Oh, nice.
Ooh,
yes.
I have Seasons, and I haven't played it in a while.
I have both of them, and I love them both.
Listen, I love.
Yeah, it's really funny. I love both of them, but where I put them in my own personal rankings, I have Seasons just slightly above Ages. And while I know there's a difference between the combat and the puzzle focus, the biggest reason that I cannot rank Ages above Seasons is I feel so bad for Impa at the start of it.
Yeah. I mean, I also did like Din a lot in Seasons. Din was like very
Oh gosh, no, I love all three of them. I'm kind of
crap. I might actually have Seasons above Spirit Tracks now that I think about it. I just haven't. I forgot about it. I straight up forgot about Seasons and Ages.
But if you forgot about it, how can it be your favorite then?
Because I haven't played it in so long. I don't have time.
Alex, that ties into like just how my memory works. So this is part of why they keep when I have a really bloody good memory.
I will say this, Mikon actually brought up the other reason why I like Oracle of Ages. You can write a bear, and
I love
Bush. If it ain't obvious, I love bears. Just saying.
Bears are awesome.
Like, come on, I get to see them roll around, look floofy, and just want to play with you every now and then. Also, the fact that I like the orphaned situation. Also, Dead just realized one of the clips that I put for Alex, which was...
Oh my god, that man came in. I had a mustache and a unibrow drawn on my face and like a little patch mustache. And this man comes in and he's handing me food. And I said, "Look at my face." He's like, "What the hell happened to you?" And I was like, "I got dared to do this." And he started making fun of me, and I was like, "Get out." And he was like, "Okay." And then as he's leaving, he starts laughing like right behind the green screen. Oh, and I was like, "Get out." And like showed him out the door. And you can't hear him on stream at that point, but he was like ugly laughing in the hallway for like 5 minutes. And I was like, this happens at least once a month. This man has to cause problems on my stream.
Well, if we're talking about clips, though, I have to remark on the Subnautica one that plays there. If anyone's wondering what's going on with that, again, for anyone who came in later or doesn't know, that's fine. I am a marine biologist, and right now one of my current playthrough games is Subnautica. And one of the big jokes with it, aside from the fact that I'm making it a chill playthrough, is that I don't get scared of the predators in that. So in that clip, I purposely went to go find the stalkers and show people how I deal with them, where I was watching them, and then I just very calmly, casually swim away because, well, I'm also a scuba diver, and that's how you handle that. And my friends' responses are, "Will you stop not getting scared at things?" So that clip is basically me looking for stalkers and watching them, and then calmly swimming away from them as one starts to come after me.
The stalkers are I don't do
it. They're so cute. I just want to hug one.
Horrifying. No.
So one of the clips that is playing also was my Mario Party clip where my friend Mike, who was doing the Mario Party Superstar Showdown, which we were using the power of Parsec to play N64 games with each other on our computers, which is great, and I would like to play Mario Party against you too as well, just to see the chaos that would happen.
Oh, absolutely.
But it started with the very first mini game of the very first round, and we were playing literally coin block bash. And one player gets a hammer. I'm playing as Donkey Kong. Yoshi, aka Moonlit Maple, decided to whack me with the hammer, and I'm like, no. Screw this. Violence. I'm knocking you down. I'm stealing your hammer. I'm whacking you with your own hammer. And I'm taking your bags. You stole my bag. That is the money that I could have used for food. I could have gotten bananas with that, and you've stolen this from me. How dare you? And then everyone's like, watch out, the monkey's got a hammer. I'm like, you know what? I do, and I'm gonna beat you with it.
Well, also he's an ape. But...
Yes. It's also he's an 8. Let's see. I don't like water levels in games. Oh.
I love water levels.
Subnautica. Well, I'm gonna have to let you down here, Mikan. Subnautica is one big water level.
That's all it is. Just the water level constantly. Water levels, 64.
Yes.
Okay, no, I see why you don't like water levels.
The thing is, when it comes to... Well, see, the thing is, for me, water levels are fine. The problem is that some games don't use proper mechanics for them. And it's in general, it's more the application of physics. My big thing, though, is that water levels get all the flack that ice levels deserve.
Yep. Listen,
okay, so the thing about ice versus water levels for me might be the exact same reason, though, is because the physics of water levels is always super irritating. I'm a very move fast, get it done kind of person, and I'm slowed down in water, and I have to think my way through water.
Water, that's my element, so I feel you, though.
But at the same time, ice also, now I can't rush because I'm just gonna, just off the side. But I don't know. If I had to pick one, it's definitely water levels that irritate me the most. I'm a very forest level kind of person. I love forest level in any game, not even just Zelda. Like, I just love forest levels.
I mean, regarding Zelda, the Forest Temple is one of my favorites, but it's also a tie between it's a tie between the Forest Temple and the Fire Temple because I really love Darunia's involvement in it just a little bit. It's no offense. I like the big buff. I love the big buff dudes in any type of video game. And Darunia, I will always accept his hug.
I like Darunia because he sat there and threw it back to Soraya's song.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Saria's song is so good and his dance to it is so amazing. But no,
I mean, he was really throwing it. Plus, okay, for me, because I have the original guidebook that came with it for Ocarina of Time. It's old, it's missing the covers, but it's still got it. And the way the way the guidebook, because there's sass, whoever's writing this had mad sass, and he's like, this is the best damn dance I've ever seen in my life.
For me, my favorite guide for it is actually the Nintendo Power Guide for Ocarina because it read like a legend. It read it like a legend. And it would be like, and Link did this and knew this.
Yeah, so, this one.
There we go. Oh my
missing
god.
The cover. Like it's old.
Which brand is that?
It's
Brady Games, the best game guy. Which one?
No, this is it's the Versus one.
Versus? Oh yeah, I think I have that.
Oh, that one's hilarious.
Nintendo Power one's my absolute favorite because, like I said, they actually legit wrote the guide like it was a legend. Like they were telling you the story of this.
I will say this.
To extrapolate from there. But no, my favorite temple from Ocarina would have to be the Shadow Temple, and it's not just because Imp is my favorite character in the history of the universe. I really love that temple.
Also, I want to just state that Sage also made a very good point about... Also, can I say how much I love pixel measurements? Ocarina of Time's water level practically gives you a ruler.
It does.
It does.
It does. That is a good point. Where is it? Because this, I need to read y'all how they say this.
Also, I just want to say Mika said the oath of throwing it back, Paladin.
Oh, this is what they say. They say, and I quote, "What happens next is probably..." How do I put this delicately? The most horrifying moment in video game history.
Now, see, for me, this is my original one from back.
Oh yeah, no, I've got the Versus one, and she's old as dirt.
I know I did have that, but no, this one was the old Nintendo Power one, and one of the many hills I will die on is that the Nintendo Power guides were the best damn guides ever.
They still are.
They still are. Unfortunately, the last one they ever published was for Twilight Princess. But for an idea of how
the only one I have Nintendo Power.
That's a great one though. Yes, that's a great one. Though. I have that one too. Yeah, no, for me, that's amazing. One of the best ways that they describe it. No, and it's whether you're starting to the next section or how to go in the next section. And one of the things I loved about the Nintendo Power Guides is that they were the antithesis of Prima. Prima was like, let's hold your hand, here you go. This is what you do, and this and this and that. Nintendo, it didn't backseat you. It guided you. It pointed you in the right direction, still gave you the tools. But like, for example, Link jumped along the banks of Zora's River. So this is after Dodongo's cover. Link jumped across the river to the left bank to begin an upstream journey to the Zoras. After blowing up the rock that blocked his path, he encountered a cellar of magic beans as well as a dead end. Link could not jump or climb over the gate behind the man, and the river's current was too strong for a boy his size to challenge. Link resolved to jump to the right bank, but after several unsuccessful attempts, he figured the gap was too wide to cross. A few steps in front of the gate, Link noticed a circle of rocks. No grass grew in the section of river bank beside it, and it was not until Link leapt from that sandy shore did he make it to the other side. The entire guide is this way. It's so good. The entire guide. And then the character descriptions are also great. It's just it's so good. And the art and maps. It also has in there a guide of the ocarina. Well, also we've got this beautiful map in the center here.
I have the same one. They have the same one in this one.
So I will say
this.
this.
It's smaller. Like, it's much smaller.
I have a
and then it has all the ocarina stuff. It actually has in here ocarina notes for how to play Kakariko Village's theme.
So, I just want to realize this, and I don't know if any of you two had this. I don't know where my copy is, but did you guys ever get the Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Asia's adventure books? They gave this out to me a long time ago, and this was a fever dream. I still remember. I think I still remember this.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get those because that was around high school. I was too busy of a time.
For me, it was since I was in I was a third grader, I think, at this time. I was in third grade. I was little bear Hito.
You were a cub.
I was little bear cub Hito, you know, pawing at the river and then drowning in it just a little bit because I don't know how to like swipe at fish. But they gave Scholastic. If you remember how Scholastic worked back then, where you got the little thing where you would go to your parents like, I want these books. Can you give these to me? Can you just like do the little circles for Scholastics? And legitimately, I asked my mom, like, hey mom, I ask you to procure these very rare Nintendo books and Scholastics for me, please. I said it exactly like that. I said it exactly like that. True story. True story. No, that's a damn lie. But I wasn't good at grammar. Anyway, no. The actual thing was when these books came in, they were like the choose your own adventure books for Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Asia's, and I would have both of them. And I literally had this very traumatizing look of how the Deku Tree looked in Asia's, and I'm trying to find that picture, and I'm just like,
I know what it looked like.
I was like, the tree has too much sap. It has diabetes. I am scared.
What?
The tree looked chunkier than usual. I don't know how to explain it.
That description doesn't match up as well.
Like,
do we have a next question?
Let's see what we got here.
Sorry, I'm not impatient. I'm just trying to help keep us on task.
Oh no, trust me. We are good. We are good on time.
I know we are.
We have 6 more minutes before we go into the Omega Challenge. Yes, that's right, the Omega Challenge. We're just talking like protagonist. Oh, but mind you, I love Zelda, I love Link. Nintendo does Link great, unlike other Nintendo protagonists. Quote unquote, Yahoo.
As someone who's met the great, the Charles and Martinet, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. Mario is fantastic. He actually has way more dialogue and interactions than he does. The thing is that Mario is just super expressive, and the thing is, his games, his style of games, he doesn't need to talk as much.
He really doesn't. I mean,
that's. But no, I've met Charles Martinet, and he's amazing. He's amazing.
I actually have his signature on like a few of my stuff too.
Yeah, I got to meet him at DragonCon a few years ago, and I have a few pictures with him. I have his signature, and when he was signing it, he made sure to do a sound effect of each of the 6 characters. And then I also have a video with him where he's wearing my leather Mario hat in it, and he's such a nice man.
Did you say
I got to meet him like right before Odyssey came out? So I was saying, well, I understand you can't talk too much about it, but how excited are you for Odyssey? And he stops in the middle of his signing. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I mean, these games are always so great, but this game just, oh my gosh, I had so much fun with this, and I think you're really good. He spends like 2 minutes geeking out about a game he can't even talk about the story of, and it was so precious, and it is so good.
Oh, we're getting the comments of how Mario makes Yoshi eat. Stage Nintendo confirmed Mario pretty much backhands
I saw
Yoshi. Just like, hey.
those old gifs of like the original sprite movements and everything, and he literally like holds a fist and cracks him in the back of the dome.
I know there's that, but I always thought that was more exaggerated because of the 16-bit. Was like he does hit him, but that doesn't necessarily mean he hit him hard.
It's the way that, like, because at least for me, the first time I saw it, I thought it was just like horrible depth perception, and he was more like this, like he's just like, shoot it out. But the way then the next one, I mean, he's straight up like jabbing him in the back.
Listen,
you do see that there, but no, Nintendo's had some really good responses on that. But it's one of those things where he did it, but it also wasn't as bad as people made it out to be.
We don't talk about the Yoshi sacrifice.
We don't talk about the Yoshi sacrifice.
Also,
we don't talk about it.
That's just gameplay. So
like I will honestly call it out. Like Dorkly makes very good examples of how many times you've sacrificed a Yoshi to the point where Mario had swapped places with Yoshi, and it gets to that point where Yoshi's like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." Sacrifices him. Mario is like, "No," and then you just like, "Oh, it's finally over. We've gotten revenge." By the way, I just want to say Mario lives because there was a whole pile of Yoshis in the bottom.
You do know that the levels. It doesn't work that way, but I'm just.
No, it doesn't work like that. But I just want you to think about that.
I didn't have to hear that depression.
I'm just gonna.
It's too early. I know it's noon, but now I'm sad.
That just means you and I need to go get burgers.
I need more burgers.
Take a nap first, but yeah.
Well, you know what I mean, Alex.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more question. Favorite creature? Very quick lightning round on this one. Favorite creature in Legend of Zelda? I'm not talking about like race, just favorite creature in general. Like think enemies. Think enemies.
Wolfos.
Many a night spent when I had the damn volume up too loud in my room, and my mom would wake up because all she heard was that damn Wolfos howling in
if we're going more just like more animal based, I'd have to go with Wolfos. If we're going other one, I'd go with Dark Nuts, especially the Wind Waker Dark Nuts.
Dude, the Twilight Princess Dark Nuts were so lit. The first time I got to that part, I was like,
See, the Twilight Princess, they're so lit, and then they actually cracked me up even further, because even though the original Hyrule Warriors is non-canon, I love that the Dark Nuts are in there from Twilight Princess, and then that there's also Dark Nuts.
Double Dark Nut, it's fine.
Why are they doing this? Stop. No.
It's so good.
You want to know something very funny? I kind of have a small little affinity for Link's Awakening creatures because they had Mario and Kirby cameos in there.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah.
And the Kirby one would always haunt me because Kirby looked like he was drugged to be in Link's Awakening. But it's a fake Kirby at the same time. And I'm just like,
and since he's fake, that's why he looks off. But as good ones, though, for the good animals, though, I do love Rimlets.
What is my favorite? Oh, God, no. Oh, God, no. Oh my god. Literally, like, the first time I played Skyward Sword and I happened on that thing while I was following Fight of the thingy to the statue of the goddess. And I was like, oh, look, a cat. And then I was like, I'm going to bed.
But you got that's also why you help Batro, so they're good. But I hope that my clip of the Diamond of Remlets helps you out a bit.
Yes, the Diamond of Remlets are beautiful. They just like
I'm so glad you like that, Hito.
Listen, when I found that, I'm like, this is too cute not to pass up. I gotta put this as one of the clips.
That clip that is just played there. I love how it's simple Skyward Sword, but that also shows my cat Nudge hopping on my shoulders.
I am the person who throws the rimlet over the side of the. I'm not gonna lie to you. Then I got mad because they just fly back, but you know it is what it is.
I love them, and once I did the event that makes them not angry at night. I purposely went around and spent like an hour or so just having them follow me around on Skyloft and gathered all 4 of them together, and it was just perfect.
I will quickly go over mine. My favorite are the choo-choos. I love the choo-choos. They are listen, I poke them, they jiggle. Like, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
I'm still trying to figure out what mine is. There's so many. Like, I don't know what I'm.
You could just use the default cuckoo.
No.
Yeah, true. They're not even enemies.
They're not enemies.
No.
You just
okay. If I had to go with an enemy, I'm gonna be real with you. It might be business scrubs.
Business scrubs are great.
I think they're hilarious.
They're flipping hysterical.
They are so funny. I don't get why I think they're this funny because they shouldn't be conceptually, but they're so funny because they have the audacity to shoot at you, and then they're like, hey, you want to buy some stuff?
That.
Like, what is your problem? Like, I'm all ready to juke you. I'm ready to kill you right now. And you're just like, I got some Deku nuts.
Alex, if it helps out for
Like,
the
what
if it helps with the business scrubs who don't attack as much, it might also be like I said, my close friend Melodic recently played through Majora's Mask for the first time, and she and I voice act the whole thing. Her voice for the business scrubs is, "I've got Deku sticks for 40 rupees if you'd like to buy one."
Like,
She was just,
plus they actively practice the art of inflation.
oh,
They are such capitalist bastards.
Can we
They are
just-
so stupid.
Is
I
that
love them.
Listen, they're capital.
Please
Listen,
let me have that. I need that for my life.
They are-
Thank
They're
you. I'll
so
give you the
funny.
they are
for the
capitalist
flower.
bastards, but here's the thing. They have a really bad sales pitch. Their sales pitch is to beat the shit out of you first. And then they're like, hey, so I noticed you're knocked out here for a second. You want to buy these Deco nuts?
Literally,
nuts?
it's like, well, now that you've successfully, hurt me in the face,
Oh yeah, no, they're great.
Really,
like, what in the world? What in the name of chocolate with nuts is this? What is going on? Why are you shooting at me if you want me to give you money? I just don't get. This is like a bad Girl Scout situation.
You know, honestly, that's
Could you imagine? Could you imagine like the Girl Scouts coming at you? They take out a baton and they beat the living crap out of you. Like, so you want some Thin Mints?
Dude, they absolutely are drug dealers. I know on the side they sell legal items to humans, and then on the side they're selling smack to other Deku. Like, I know it in my heart. I know in my heart all Deku are on crack. Like, have you seen their eyes? It's the business scrubs, they're pushers. I absolutely agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I love those things. They don't make any damn sense. And I love them so much.
Also, we met Nudge earlier. Now it's Link's turn.
Link's like, please.
No, Link's like, yes, please, cuddles. He
Link,
just had a birthday yesterday.
that is fair.
He said he's now old enough to borrow his own telescope. Here he
Oh.
is.
So, guys, are you ready for the craziness that's about to go down right now?
Craziness. I thought it was just crazy awesome.
So we just got the transmission in right now. We got the transmission coming in right now. And I'm hoping that the transmission will behave today. You know.
Here you go.
But we have a tier list on this thing now. It looks pretty. I like it. It looks pretty sassy.
Why is there D? There shouldn't be anything. I mean, honestly, B should be the lowest, maybe C, but there shouldn't even be D on there.
I mean, listen, I didn't make the tier list. The tier list made me.
You do know that you can customize the things on the left column, though.
Hold on, I got you. Delete row. There we go.
There we go.
Listen, we gotta give the Zelda games justice. There is no D's, there is no F's. Just
Frankly, there's not even C's, but
Listen, we'll keep it at C at least.
I suppose. But see, if we did S, A, and B, then it's like the Triforce.
That's true.
No. No, actually, no, it's fine. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Do it for Link. Do it for Link.
You know what? It's Link's birthday. We'll be nice. We'll be nice. He just got his telescope today. It's fine. We'll get rid of C. There.
Hey.
I won't be critical today.
The most positive tier list.
The most positive. Mikon tried to play a sound alert, but little did Mikon know the sound alerts are on mute today. Because for some reason, I couldn't disable sound alerts today. It was like, hey, I know I'm giving you the option, but I'm not going to do it for you today. So this is how I probably knew that Twitch was already going to be acting up today.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Surprised, like, their bots are working at all, because Streamlabs has been acting stupid for me, but that's besides the
So, Alex, does this Cuddly Kitty help a bit?
Yes. Actually.
I bring Beck in here, but Beck doesn't want to, like, be bothered. He's very social.
He's purring so hard.
Like, Beck is, like,
He's purring
legitimate,
so
like, no.
hard.
Like, Beck is like, no, I don't like the camera. You know I don't like this shit. And if I catch you doing this, again, I'm going to literally bite the hell out of you today. Even though I won't even try to bite you. Also, it doesn't help that the clip above Mansell right now is literally playing at the same time.
The cats. The cats.
The cat.
Yeah, that was when I
Again.
was doing a charity event, and I went and grabbed both Link and Nudge and was showing how cuddly they are to everyone. And you can see how they're both just hanging out, enjoying being cuddled.
All right, so To start off this tier list, we have Four Swords, and I believe this is the Four Swords that's on the Game Boy.
I would put that in B.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It is my 18th favorite of the 20 canon games. It is a fun game. It is an awesome game. But the execution, I feel, was a bit flawed in Nintendo's off-on attempt to include multiplayer.
That's actually funny enough. I got the game working, and it was a solid A for me, but...
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's fair. I mean, I love it. It's an amazing game. I mean, there are no bad canon Zelda games. But for me, if I have to rank them, see, what I'm doing is I'm mentally thinking about where I have the 20 canon games ranked for me. And based on where it is ranked, that's where I would put it. But, I mean, it's one of those where, honestly, I'd put everything at least in A. Link, I'm sorry, there's a cat cam now.
There's a cat.
What are you apologizing for?
Listen, who apologize? Listen.
This is why I don't have a separate cat cam on my channel, because they both know they can just come up at any time and get all the cuddles they want.
Listen, I will make this very clear. That's like me telling Waba not to have their cat on the stream. Like, that's like, I can't genuinely do that because they're adorable and I'd be asking for it. Like, that would be a disrespect. I will never do that. Also, I just want to say, Alex, that clip that's playing of you down there, I died of laughter because you were talking about bad internet. And the second that happened, you just hear a giant piercing scream. And you're like, yes, terrifying. I know. I understand.
Dude, the timing of the village is unmatched throughout the universe. It's not me. I've done nothing. But the way it happened 3 times in the same stream, I would say, yeah, my internet, and all I'd hear was, ah. And I'm like, how are y'all timing this? Because there's a delay. So, like, how do you know what I'm about to say that you're playing this so closely?
Listen.
It was hilarious.
Listen, the Pokemon clip that keeps playing, it was well timed for the fact that Team Rocket came in, and all you hear is, prepare for trouble, make it double. And I'm just like,
oh my God.
That's pretty amazing,
like,
actually.
You guys... And it's 50 bits for that one, so I'm just like... You're making me cry. Not again.
You're making me crazy.
But Four Swords for the Game Boy Advance. Since you two chose it for a B and I was an A, it rounds to a B. It goes into the B.
It is an amazing game, and I feel that the 3DS Ambassador port of it vastly improved on the original.
Yeah.
Especially since you could play it more easily single player. It is a solid game. Is it weaker than some of the other ones? Yes. Is it good? Oh, hell yes. Is it worth playing? Hell yes.
Also, I will say this for the matter. Dark Keyblade Warrior's like, oh my god, the Void Kitty in the lower right, just wow.
Sweet baby.
Yeah, he's a very good boy. This is, for anyone who's not met him, this is Link. He's one of my 2 sweet kitties. He appears on camera a lot on my channel too. But yeah, he just had a birthday yesterday. He turned 12. So, as I said, he's old enough to borrow his own telescope now.
Mm-hmm. Stage says, I still listen to the old-fashioned Pokemon song Double Trouble. Just saying. Fair.
As well you should.
As you should. It's a bop. Mika, I still... You know what other song I still listen that 4Kids made? Do you remember Pegasus singing Face Up, Face Down?
Please don't. No, please. Please. For my health... For my health, you will keep that to yourself.
Was it that bad? Wait, was it that bad, Alex?
Okay, so like for me, like I liked it when I was a kid, and then I hadn't watched it in a very long time, and I heard it again when I was like 20, and I was like, somebody deserves to be fired without severance. I cannot believe.
Listen, I am a child when it comes to this song. I'm a child. So when I hear Face Up, Face Down, I just have like the very much eyebrow raise and the smirk on the side, just like... I'm a child. I am a cub to this day still, and I cannot take the song seriously now anymore. Someone ruined the song for me. And Mikan is just like... And then Mikan's just like, Pegasus, I haven't been this distraught since the Spice Girls broke up. I'm just like...
Like Pegasus loves the Spice Girls.
Oh, exactly. Like that's where it is.
I haven't been this distraught since the Spice Girls broke up.
Like Maximilian Pegasus deserves prison, but like nice prison.
nice prison.
You know, honestly, that's a fair assessment, my friend.
Like he definitely deserves to be incarcerated, but like minimum security prison.
I will say this: there is a prison that is well known, I believe, in Europe, that they don't get all the hard grueling work. They just get like a lot of royalties for them. So I'm like, that's probably the prison that Pegasus will go into.
No, he gets Swedish prison.
Swedish
because
prison.
in Swedish prison you actually get a house and a paycheck, and you've got TV, and there's not really a whole bunch going on. You just have to go to mad reform classes.
That's the one. That's the one.
But his reform would be them ripping out his eye. I can't see. And grief counseling. He needs grief counseling.
Yes.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. This whole thing could have been avoided if he'd gone to grief counseling.
Absolutely.
Can we also just say the fact that he actually dies in the manga, but 4Kids just kept him?
Yeah, well, 4Kids is also the one who wouldn't let you figure out why, what's his name? Merrick was so messed up. They wouldn't tell you what Zork Necrophades actually looked like, because we're about to have a dragon between his legs, because that's just nasty. And I'm like, it's a dragon!
And they also got rid of the initial Shadow Game stuff before it all became about cards.
Well, my thing is, it's not even the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, once I need to watch the actual original Yu-Gi-Oh! It's apparently way worse.
I've read it. I've not watched it yet, but I've read it. It was good, though.
All right.
It was good.
Due to the Shadow Realm taking over for a sec, let's go back to Zelda. This has gotten really good. I can't wait to do it.
It's been really good.
I can't wait to do the 4Kids Retrogade. That's going to be hilarious. The 4Kids one I've been dying to do for a long time, because I have words and sentences that make up a very good point.
Oh my.
So the next game on the list is Link to the Past, and I will always give that an S.
Absolutely.
Always give that one an S.
Wait, which one?
Link to the Past. SNES.
Okay.
Alex, what is your grade on that one?
S. Put it up there.
Okay. No questions asked.
Come on.
Okay. All right. Next one is Link Between Worlds.
As much as I love it, if I'm just splitting my list and even third, I'd probably have to give it an A.
I was gonna say A, and I haven't even played it.
For me,
I'm on an A.
Yeah, for me, it's like, honestly, if I could, I'd rank all 20 of them in S. But I mean, I want this to at least be a bit more split. Since I do appreciate you making it a good Triforce, though, my friend. For what it's worth, I've actually used this tier maker before, and I have more categories, but they're all positive, and it's like there's nothing below B.
That is fair.
But I feel you on that. But no, I love it. It's amazing. It's a fantastic game. If you've not played it, I can't recommend it enough. It's still a reason to buy a 3DS. But if just in the interest of spacing them out, I would have to give it an A. But it is still an S-worthy game, if that makes sense.
Yes. So it's unanimous for A for that one. Next one is Breath of the Wild.
S.
And I say S, not for the reason people probably think I'm saying S. I say S because I appreciate what it's done and the fact that it has brought a whole new generation of Zelda lovers into the fandom. For really good reason.
What reason do you think people would think for you?
A lot of times people are like, why do you like Breath of the Wild so much? It's so much different. And I think a lot of people like Breath of the Wild because it's open world and it's nothing like the other Zelda games. And I mean, that's cool, but I just appreciate what it's done for
honestly, I'm the same as you, Alex. And the thing is that I see where people are coming from on that, but I'm also going to say yes and no. Because, Alex, you and I have both been playing Zelda for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
And to me, anyone who's like, oh, it's so different, yes and no. It is a perfect fusion of new and old Zelda things. Like it brought back the original, here's a big map, you don't know where you're going, like we had in the original Zelda 1.
Yeah, but now it's 3D. Like, it's the same concept.
Absolutely. And it's, to me,
it's this.
Exactly, Hito. It does so much with that game. And just, again, fusing the two different mechanics. And to me, it's not just a breath of the wild, it's a breath of, I wouldn't say fresh air, but a breath of new air, where it is still a Zelda game. It is still very much at the core, and it is perfect for longtime fans such as us, as well as casual fans, as well as newcomers. And you can
I do agree with some of like the older fans who were like, I do miss the concept of true dungeons.
Oh no,
Yeah.
absolute same.
I would
Absolute
love
same.
to see them come back, and the way I see it is that I don't think they have a choice with the second Breath of the Wild, because what else do? Go through Divine Beasts again?
Yeah, pretty much.
I will say this.
I would honestly, I wouldn't
A
be surprised
wild
if
breath.
the Forgotten Temple makes an appearance at some point.
It's a
but
wild breath of fresh air, if one could say.
It really.
I like
it
what
really,
Mikan
it really
said,
is.
though.
Yeah.
I want the hook shot and the hammer back. The
Yes.
reason they were supposed to have the hook shot originally, but they got rid of it because of the climbing mechanic.
Yeah,
and
exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say with that. And I'd love to see them bring it back, but I won't be upset if they don't. My big thing is that really, again, it was that fusion for everyone in there, and it's neat to see a Hyrule that it's so familiar yet so distant from us, because it is so far in the future, but it's still Hyrule.
Well, I think too, what I appreciate about the open world concept is, like, originally they wanted to do something like that with Twilight Princess, which is why Hyrule Field is so damn big.
Honestly,
but they couldn't because of pretty much technical limitations.
Yeah, and see, honestly,
right, and so they had like regrets about it. So they're like, no.
I would honestly argue that technically, even though Breath of the Wild does the best implementation of open world, technically each Zelda prior to that is open world. I mean, you could even argue you could argue that Ocarina is open world, because even though that Hyrule Field is much smaller,
that was huge when it came out.
It's still huge when it came out, and we have to remember the difference between the end game world versus technical limitations. This is still that same Hyrule, and they just finally had the power to put that into play. Even Skyward Sword is frankly huge open world, but you fly above it.
Skyward Sword was when you really sit down and like look at the map, like the entire map of all of the areas, that place is massive. And you just can't do all of it.
Absolutely, that's part of why I love it. It's like you get Skyward Sword, and you can put Ocarina on that.
They just had to be clever with the whole,
and then Breath of the Wild on that.
They had to be clever with how you travel between them, again, because of technical limitations, not because they couldn't.
So there's
story limitations, but it all still connects. And then again, you can still see where Ocarina follows from that, and then where Twilight Princess follows and matches up, and then hey, look, Breath of the Wild, Hyrule, it all matches up. And
finally, they got the switch. They got the switch, and they're like, no.
I mean, there's also another thing that I have to say onto that situation. It's more on the fact,
but then the Switch just boosted it.
That was it. I just hate the fact that when it comes to certain Zelda games, is that suggestion because they brought up in chat brings up linear Zelda games, and I'm like, it's not the fact that it's. Okay, so when it came to the first game, it's not suggesting where you should go first and all that stuff. It's not a suggestion, if that makes sense. It's more
well, to me, I feel that the whole linear stuff is, I mean, I love Four Swords Adventures. It's a flipping amazing game, and if you've not played it, I can't recommend it enough. That was more chapter-based, but again, you could also argue that part of that was because, again, of how big that world is, because Four Swords Adventures comes after Twilight Princess, and ergo before Breath of the Wild, so it's a big Hyrule. So again, limitations could have also made more sense for that. Still a very, very, very big world. But you could also go back and replay those. So that was cool, because how many times have you been like, oh, I wish I could do this dungeon again? You get to go and do that again with that. But as far as the linear progression goes, let's face it, most of that is more story progression, but you can still do however which you want in so many different ways. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I would always get Epona as soon as I could after waking up in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And many people wouldn't get her until later. So yes, the dungeons and the story might be linear overall, but your events around there, not so much. So the linear,
I will say though,
it's a softer thing.
A lot of people like the concept of a linear game gets a very like negative connotation, and I actually enjoy. My favorite game of all time is linear as hell.
Oh yeah, no,
I love linear games because, quite frankly, sometimes I'm not trying to work that hard.
Honestly, I agree with you. For me, it's like I'm very much an explorer, so I'm going to do everything in between each one. I love linear games, and personally, I feel that they get a huge amount of flack without people properly understanding what they're dissing.
Yeah, like I don't think people realize, like, not all video games have to be so immersive and so thought-based and so spread the heck out like a real life situation. Like, it doesn't have to. You can tell stories in so many different ways and it still make plenty of sense. You don't have to be that out.
Exactly, and they can still be immersive even if they're linear. And
my favorite game of all time is Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Please, spare me on the whole linear thing. Like I don't have a choice where I get to go.
So, no, exactly. And then furthermore from that, Alex, real quick, Hito. Again, with Sonic Adventure 2, as well as with Four Swords Adventures, you get to replay stuff. How is that bad?
Exactly.
Sorry, go on.
There's plenty of stuff I was
actually gonna say more on the fact that No, it's not the issue of a linear game. It's more on the fact that Legend of Zelda presented itself more open world with its NES copy to start. But then when the games progressed a little bit, it's a suggestion. I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying more on the on the fact that the linear is suggested, and because it's suggested, people make it feel to the point where it's like, oh, this game is linear. I'm like, no, it's not technically linear. It's technically suggested. Absolutely. It's suggested linear gameplay. So it's more on the fact that it's like, you can choose to go in the route of this. You know, you can choose to follow the suggestions, but you don't have to do that. So it's because of that. It's because the fact that it's suggested, people automatically assume it's linear.
For me, honestly, I'd feel that every single one of them, from the first one all the way up to Breath of the Wild, honestly, it's more like it's loose linear. Where, yeah, there's the suggestion, and technically for some of them, you do have to do dungeons in a certain order, or ideally do them in a certain order, but there's nothing telling you you have to follow this exact hard route. I mean, it is absolutely a massive zigzag from point A to point B. It's like, it's more like there's a point, which, I mean, there's so many decimals. There's so many decimals applied to this, it's like an IP address.
Yeah, but like, I think that's a really good point. Like, they technically call it sequence breaking in Ocarina of Time if you do a couple of temples in a different order. Like, you're supposed to do, what is it? You're supposed to do Shadow before Spirit, and then some people do Spirit before Shadow.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's like, okay, if I can do it, clearly it's not a problem. So
absolutely. And for me, I always prefer to do Shadow first. And I
do Shadow first.
I feel that Shadow is more ideal first, not just for the game's story, but I like that you can flip it up. And that is cool. But and again, that right there, as you just pointed out, it breaks people's whole argument. Honestly, I think what it comes down to is that people like to fuss, and they completely lose sight of what they're fussing about because they have too much fun complaining.
Also, yeah, I mean, I can sit here and analyze my favorite games all day long. But at a certain point, it's like, this is really more than it's worth.
The ultimate thing is that while you and I can both sit here and analyze like all day and night and have a blast with it, we also remember that at the core of it is having fun.
Yeah. It's meant for entertainment. Yeah. It really is. At the very end of the day, it is a game.
Absolutely.
It is meant for entertainment and nothing else. Like, now, is it fun to add all this other stuff onto it and speculate from here until dawn? Absolutely. But at the end of the game, I am here to play a game, swing a sword, attack a couple chickens, and live my best life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, I was also gonna say this. Yes, I haven't gotten the prelude of Light yet, and it's because I was rushing through things. I don't know how to like explain it. I also forgot about it too at one point.
Just walk into the temple real quick. Just real quick. Just hit up church for like 12 seconds, learn a hymn, and leave. That's all you got to do.
But I'm pagan. We don't go to church. Stop.
Go to the temple. I don't need this. You're walking back for no reason. Go to the temple.
Oh, I never went back. I never went back.
You need to. It's fine.
I know. I'm being dumb. Don't mind me. When I beat the water temple, then I'll feel like
dangerously when he's got the two of us on here.
Yeah, like.
I'll do it after the water temple's finished.
After the what? That's you. You actually can't. Well, no, you can't. Like,
just go to the temple. Just go to the temple.
Just go to the. It's right there.
Okay.
Can't walk past the Redes. They can't stop you. Just go.
Okay.
They're gonna scream, but they always do that. Just go. Walk in, hit the cutscene, walk out.
Oh, both.
You're killing me.
See, Mikon wanted to do this, just like Al's gonna slap a Hito. I'm like, probably.
I don't get it. Like, I can get like maybe, I missed this bottle or something.
Oh, yeah.
Song?
Yeah, no, I'm the same as you, Alex. And I'm like, he's like, Hito, I love you, but I am a disappoint.
Yeah, like, I'm not mad at you per se. I just need you to do better.
Yes.
Listen, it's been a long time since I played Ocarina of Time. I only beat it once, and I was only 7.
No excuses.
I don't see really what I'm saying
you
is
should
I
know
don't
better
see
now.
how you haven't gone back in the temple. It's really
Honestly,
my thing.
I
honestly,
forgot
my
about
whole
it.
thing was like, oh, we can use the sword and do this now.
Yeah, I was sitting there knife stabbing because I kept hitting the A button too much. Like, why are you for like 10 minutes? I was like back and forth and back and I'm pretty sure Link had like time inertia by the time I was done.
I can absolutely see that, my friend.
I mean,
Also-
I was sitting there I was like, no, stop. And I just kept going back and forth. Just
Mikan, stop getting me in trouble with the Zelda enthusiasts, please. I'm begging you. I'm begging you.
What one bottle do you have? Which bottle is it? Where did you get it from?
You didn't even get the one from Anju, seriously?
That's the first one I get. The whole something about a lady sitting there freaking out because she's got allergies just really sits with me.
No, the first one I got was from Talon.
For some reason I go to Kakariko first. I don't know why.
So,
For me, I like to go learn Epona's song first, and I know.
No, you know what it is? It's because the minute I leave Kokiri Forest, I am hauling it. I have time anxiety. I am hauling to that gate. You have no. I'm like, I got.
Mikan, stop snitching. Stop snitching.
Oh my god! If you don't go in there and find those 3 chickens, you're killing me.
Listen, okay.
Yeah, and especially the great thing where you just like throw all of them in a corner.
Listen, I forgot about a lot of things with Ocarina of Time. Like I said, it's been 15 years since I last touched it.
Look, I have a horrible memory, but one does not simply forget the bottles.
I forgot the bottles, okay?
No. Not even the bottles. One does not forget the Prelude of Light.
Okay, I actually forgot that. Okay, I honestly forgot that one too.
I just don't.
Mikan, I appreciate you.
You know what? I like to think that Cape Bora talks so much because he's sad someone forgot the Prelude of Light.
You know, honestly, you're right. Yeah, it's Hito's fault.
It is. We could all
fine.
We all been spared.
You know what? If you're so concerned about my Ocarina of Time playthrough, then coach me through it then.
Fine.
Do you want that smoke? Because we'll sit there.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I will take it.
Me and Mantle will take shifts. It'll be like, all right, you do this section. I got the next one. All right, tag. Like we can go. We can have you done with the rest of this game in one stream, Hito.
Oh yeah.
You understand?
I will take that bet. I will take that bet. Trust me, I need to finish this game too. By the way,
I want to do a stream where my brother is just like he has to coach me through Majora's Mask, so I can sit there and argue with him when he doesn't know what he's talking about.
All right, hold on. Let's get back to this tier list before we forget, because this list is looking kind of empty.
I didn't forget. I was just having fun.
This was funny. I'm sorry. Like my chat likes to snitch on me on things. I'm like, y'all.
Keep going. What else you got? I'm having fun. Snitch some more.
Yeah, listen. Y'all won't survive police interrogation. You're supposed to be the resistance. Resist, goddammit. Next game is the Four Swords on GameCube.
I would put that as an A.
That was a solid A.
That's valid. I'm not mad at it.
It's an amazing game. And I for what it's worth, if anyone's curious, I have played this game both solo as well as with friends since it came out when I was in college, and I totally had the Game Boy Link cables and we used our GBAs for it.
So, next one is going to be Link's Awakening.
I'll also give that an A.
Yeah.
I love Marin. I would give that an S, but
I don't hate it.
Eighth it. Huh?
Yeah. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. I like the remake that they did for it too.
Oh gosh,
it was a very good remake. I played it so much I got bored. Is really what the thing.
That's fair.
So
Majora's Mask is an S for me.
S.
It will always be an S for me.
If you play it anywhere else, I will leave the call. I swear to God, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah, it's an amazing game. I will say though that Majora's Mask, it is wow.
I am consistently to this day impressed that they made all of that gloriousness in a year. So.
Oh, same. Well, how about this? Majora's Mask is absolutely yes. What ranks as a B is people's trying to give it too much credit. Where it is an amazing game and deserves a lot of credit, but I'm sure you two.
It's not end all be all either.
Thank you. See, that's the thing is that I know all three of us love the game, and I know both of you. It's like at your top. Even for me, it's in my top 7, even if it's not at my top. For me, it's an incredible game, but so much of the fan base just tries to give it way, 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 way more credit than it's worth. And it's just
It's not the golden goose of the,
it's a good
it's
game,
not.
but it's not the end all be all.
It's a very good game, but it's not the Zelda, but by any means
it's not
necessary.
the Zelda.
It didn't do anything. I mean, it did some things, but it didn't do anything of that caliber.
Listen, it gave us 3 days.
Ocarina and expanded.
It gave us 3 days.
It also let us play as different forms.
Exactly.
It gave us 3 days.
Okay, so for me, like growing up, I had horrible time anxiety, but now I'm like, I just appreciate it because it gave us 3 days.
So that
what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. That was one of the fun things with it was that, I mean, I played and completed it as a kid because I was 15 when it came out. And my friend who I recently guested for, because she did her first playthrough and loved it, part of why she didn't play it back in the day is because she had time anxiety for it.
Mm-hmm. It puts off a lot of people.
It does. But one of the cool things I will share with people about that is that not only is the 3DS version much more forgiving about that, you can still play the original N64 one on the Wii U. And not only does the Wii U have the full game, it also has restore points.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really my thing.
And here's a big thing: how much more of a cushion is that for any of that time stress, or even it's just a nice cushion. And on another thing, I didn't even think about until she mentioned it. Also for accessibility,
it is, and I think what you really have to kind of think about from Majora's Mask, at least for me, is like when I first played it, and I didn't have the guide for this one, so I was playing this blind, right? You don't there's very small allusions to the inverted Song of Time, but it's not like it pops up in your pause menu or anything, so you would never know. You know what I mean? So for me, it's more like now that I know it, every time I reset the 3 days, I immediately hit inverted. So now I'm just like,
absolutely,
I'm minding my business. But plus, I know where everything is. So now I'm just having a great time.
Also,
through this.
Also, real quick, Alex. Because I do the same with the inverted. It's like no matter how much I know it, I still love to do that. And I also taught my the big thing is that also the sorry, I was responding to something there. But
yeah,
you don't love this. My good friend Melodic was playing through it, and she was going through Stone Tower. And she was about to go face the boss. She's about to go through the boss, and she's on the 3rd day. Now, for your 3rd day, where you're completing the dungeon, and she got all 15 fairies, and you might both know that stupid Goron roll fairy, how hard she is to get. She absolutely did all this, and this doof comes into her channel. Hey, are you doing this without the Song of Inverted Time? Because he sees that she's on the 3rd day. And when he mentioned, well, it's because you're already on the 3rd day and you've burned up a lot of time, I just deleted that comment, and the dude.
All right, you mind your business.
The dude rage left the stream before I could even ban him.
Like, what is your problem?
Like, why?
First and foremost, it's the first time they're playing it. If anything, the way I see it is if it's your first time playing the game, I'm not going to tell you about the inverted. Most people didn't, if you somehow figure out this cryptic message this crackhead scarecrow has done told you, by all means. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you because, quite frankly, I had to suffer, and you will too.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
Oh, so, next game is the original Legend of Zelda.
I would rank that as a B.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's amazing. I love it. It's amazing. And it started off the best series in the history of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I like it for that.
It's the building block.
It is the building block, and it is a solid game. It is still fantastic, but there's so much more that came after it.
It's not the one that I'm going to sit here and pick to replay first.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Next up is Ocarina of Time. I give that an A.
S.
Okay.
That's my favorite game of all time.
Ages, I would give an A.
I would give an A. Solid A.
Yeah. Same for Seasons.
Things for Seasons. Phantom Hourglass.
I'd give that an A.
Yeah.
I liked Spirit Tracks more than Phantom Hourglass, but I still feel that Phantom Hourglass was a very awesome, solid game.
I'm still putting Spirit Tracks in A as well, though. I will say that.
Spirit Tracks I did enjoy to put an A.
Yeah.
Next up is Skyward Sword.
S.
S because Skyward Sword chronologically speaking, it is the beginning. Mm-hmm. It is a very solid story. It is a very important part of the story. And despite the fact that everybody hates the the motion controls, which I understand. I get it.
I love the motion controls.
I'm good at them, but I had to get used to them. And so for some people who aren't used to it, I absolutely understand.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I feel it's like, but even then, we can also on the flip side argue how many games, even if it's just pancake style with the controller, you still have to get used to the controls because you don't necessarily know what the buttons are for any of those.
But I will say the first time I ever played Skyward Sword, it actually took me 3 months to beat Demise because I couldn't get the damn Skyward Strike to work because my Wii remote was like, I don't know where you're pointing. I don't know where you're pointing right now. But that was sorry.
It. For me, if it makes you feel any better, on my recent playthrough of it, my sensor bar was having an issue, and so like I was hitting it, but it wasn't doing it. And what ticked me off though is this dude came in, hey, nice try, but Nintendo made this a game where you have to hit it accurately, and I'm just
really.
And I just find it's like I because it's like, dude, you're insulting me as well as this game.
Yeah,
well,
like
you
shut
just
up.
Not.
First off, I didn't ask. So
yeah, I mean, thankfully he left while I did a BRB, but it was just frustrating.
But it really was just like a technological thing for me. It was an old Wii remote, and I had like a little plug-in for like the Motion Plus, so I just got a brand new controller, and it was better.
That's fair. Yeah, I had a little bit of acid damage on one of mine from batteries.
Yeah, but other than that, like you look past those issues, and these things happen. But yeah, it deserves the S.
Wait, what just happened? Oh God, what is doing? I do not know what just happened. The whole list just glitched. Hold on, I could refresh it.
Oh, just drag it, because what the hell?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
happening here.
I'm just gonna refresh it.
Oh no, baby, what is you doing?
No, the refreshing doesn't mess it up.
You're the best.
Yeah, because look, the refreshing doesn't actually mess up the tier list.
Okay.
All right. Next up is Minish Cap.
A.
Wind Waker, I would give an S.
I don't like Wind Waker that much. I mean, I don't dislike it.
But absolute S.
S for me.
I'll give it an A, but y'all can put it in S. The reason I don't like Wind Waker that much, I played it purely because one of my mods loves Wind Waker to pieces. It was fun for that. But for me, it's like I'm very impatient. And when I played it the first time, was the demo version that came with like the collector's edition.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which was the original GameCube version, which did not have a fast sale. And I'm like, I've been sailing for 7 days. I am dying. Like I couldn't do it. And so it's a little bit easier now because you have the fast sale in the HD version. But even still, like I'm trying to get there, dog. Like it's one thing for Hyrule Field, that's another thing for a whole ass ocean.
Listen,
like I can't do it.
I will say this: always remember to siddle.
Child, anyways.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do, but
just siddle. Don't slide, siddle. Next up is Twilight Princess, and that's S for me.
Don't disrespect Twilight Princess.
Absolutely.
If anybody has a problem with it, they can catch
I'll have to share with everyone, but I do actually cosplay Wolf Link. I built a semi-quad fursuit. I am not a furry, but I did build that, and he is one of my favorite costumes to this day.
The Adventure of Link.
B. I have trauma. B. I have trauma.
I love it. I love it. It's fantastic, but it's my 20th favorite of 20.
Yeah.
Listen. Okay. I love it. I think it's a very good game, but it is violently difficult. And it's difficult in the way all games of that system were difficult. You know what I mean? Like all games were made to be hard on that for some reason. I don't get it. But the whole thing of me having to do the Palace, then the Thunderbird, then Darklink back to back, I was like, why don't you just take me outside and shoot me old Yeller style? Because it'd be a lot easier.
No, but for me, I love it, but very much like with the original Zelda, it is a building block even if in its own way. But one of the things I loved about it is that even though it was only the second game in the series, it showed that Nintendo was not afraid to do something different. And it also, they continue to do that as a company with all of their series, and also with Zelda for that matter. And even if some of the things they do different aren't always as awesome, they're still good. They're still great. And Zelda 2 is heckin' fantastic.
So Triggs is asking, wait, how did the first one end up in B?
Because it's a building block.
Yeah, it's a building block to a whole bunch of other games that
I appreciate it. Like for that reason,
yeah, we love it.
Yeah,
it's a building block to all of this greatness right here.
But it's not the first one I'm replaying.
Yeah.
If I have a choice between,
it's one of those where it is an amazing game. It is an absolutely hecking incredible game, but it just, you think about what all comes after it from there, and we're thinking about in the entire. We're not thinking off of favorites or anything. Although for me, it is admittedly my 19th favorite in the 20 canon games. It's great, but think of what all gets added after the fact.
Yeah.
What it all continues in from there. And we're doing this objectively, not out of nostalgia lenses. But back on Zelda 2 for a second though, one of my absolute favorite things with Zelda 2 is the fact that a lot of people, like, we all love the palace theme. It's amazing. It's one of the best Zelda themes ever. Mikan for that sub. Holy heck.
Oh heck yeah.
Oh no, they're trying to
Everyone-
start.
Yeah.
They're trying to start.
Well, yeah, because you're awesome and you deserve it, my dude.
Oh my god.
But no, the one of the things I love is that we all know the palace theme, how absolutely flipping gorgeous it is. I love breaking people's brains by sharing with him that Koji Kondo did not compose that.
Mm-hmm. I want to
It was
meet him.
Oh
I
god,
mean, I would absolutely start crying if I ever got the chance to meet him.
One day.
Ever.
One day.
I swear. Okay, so here's one thing that I will say. We all know it's 35th anniversary this year, right? And everybody comes into my chat and they're like, what are you hoping they do for remakes for Switch releases? And everybody's like, oh, I hope they do Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess. And I'm like, I'm not. I would rather they did some very drastic updated remake of the original.
That'd be cool, yeah. See, for me, my whole thing is that would I kill to have an HD Ocarina of Time? Absolutely yes. But if I never get it, guess what?
It won't kill me. I have 8 ways to play the game.
I have the original sitting up there on there. I have Japanese and European copies sitting right here. I have it on every virtual console release. I have the 3DS version.
Yeah.
And
I don't mind like a virtual console release or just like a Switch port.
I would love that too. If I get a port.
Fine.
My ultimate wish, if we ever did get anything like that, I would love an HD Ocarina, but I'm not jonesing for it. It's like I'd like it, but I'm not hoping for it. If that makes any sense.
Well, I want like remakes
of
the original too, because I think because we've got all these,
they absolutely deserve.
I just want to say one thing, Mantle. You supported Mikan shenanigans. God damn it, you supported Mikan shenanigans. Mikan's always trying to start this. Mikan's always trying to make someone cry. Basically, just to make this clear, Mikan is essentially what Grayson is in Alex's chat.
Myself, but Mikan beat me to it.
I'm just like,
I needed to cheer at least a little bit for the amazing fun you've thrown in for me and Alex.
You got no. Stop it! It was on 69%. It was perfect. How dare you? How dare?
No, now it's better.
Mikan, we're not starting this. We're not starting this today. Come on.
But yeah, I'd rather there was a remake.
Yeah. Well,
like an updated remake of the original 2, because with all of these new people coming in because of their interest in Breath of the Wild, they deserve to be able to experience it.
They need to be able to experience it in an even more awesome and amazing way. And I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, like I don't even think they have to do anything drastic. They don't have to 3D it. Do what they did with Link's Awakening.
Oh,
Same
absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely. Now, for me, one of the other ones is that everyone always also comes into my stream, man, I really want HD ports of, I really want Switch ports of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. And I'm like, yes, that'd be cool, but low priority because they already got HD versions on the Wii U.
That's my other thing. Nintendo's not big. Nintendo's very big on the we just did that. No.
Yeah, no, they absolutely are.
They've always been like that.
The whole thing is that contrary to popular belief, the Switch is not land of the ports. Yeah. They port a lot of stuff.
Yes.
But all the stuff that is ported deserves to be ported. Whereas, as much as I love my PlayStation 4, I'm sorry, let's take a look at that. That's the real land of the ports, where they're porting so many things of like, why is this ported? Who asked for this?
Dude, they're doing the same thing Disney's doing with all these princess movies.
Yeah.
Just give me something else.
That's a very good assessment, my friend. But yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing. Will I complain if we get ports of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker? Fuck no.
I'll be mad. I would be mad.
I'll be happy and I'll be celebrating, but it's not the first thing I want.
Honestly, yeah, I'd rather they did some of the other games that haven't gotten a love, like redo Minish Cap or something.
Yes, for me, my top want would be an HD Ocarina, and that's not just a personal thing, but again, just because they can still add so much more stuff, because that was our first foray into 3D. So similar for the reasons that you and I both want remakes of 1 and 2, they'd be able to boost up from there. But even then, my next ones around there are remakes of these games that deserve these ports, deserve this love, deserve these.
The ones that haven't gotten the attention that the other ones have.
Exactly. And that's part of what pisses me off about people bitching about Skyward Sword. And it's just, excuse you, it doesn't have an HD port. Get over yourself. And furthermore, y'all kept fussing about motion controls. Guess what? They have an intuitive thing now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this
Like,
this
and you need to play this one. You got to.
HL Numa was so against no motion controls, but honestly, I'm still going to play it with motion controls. Am I hyped as heck for that edition, though? I absolutely am. Oh, and funny thing on the motion controls, a lot of people fuss about accessibility or lack thereof with the motion controls. Most of those people don't even have a disability to fuss about that. And it's just, I have a friend who has muscular dystrophy. And he flat came into my channel and he's like, I hate how people keep fussing about that and they don't even understand. I love Skyward Sword. And I'm just, I know you don't speak for everyone, but thank you.
Like, I think, like, I've gotten so in tune with the motion controls of Skyward Sword. It's not a game you're actually supposed to be sitting down for.
Yes.
You're supposed to be standing in an open space, swinging around wildly.
I always sit with my Wiimote.
I'm literally sitting here and I'm just flicking my wrist around. Like, I'm doing the thing. And people are like, how are you playing this? Like, is your arm sore? I was like, I haven't moved my arm this entire time. It's just,
I did love, though, how they improved it from there. But no, absolutely, I'm right there with you. Because, like, again, Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, would I be happy for HD remakes? Oh, and I'd play the hell out of them. You know I would. Well, not really HD remakes, rather HD ports, shall I say.
Yeah.
HHD. UHD.
Yeah, but like, if they're gonna... I had to take a choice.
I'm looking at our A list right here.
Any of the A's.
Yeah, any of the A's in particular. Honestly, I'd love for them to remake the DS games with like modified controls.
I would also like to
do Adventure of Link. I hate it, but I'll play it again.
Oh,
listen, I will say this: I want a remake of the Seasons and Ages series because I know there was supposed to also be a third game as well.
Yes,
and if we can have, that,
think about it with like online capability.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry if I'm like sounding like I'm about to cry. It's because I am. So just give me a minute. Hold on.
Hito, don't you dare worry. Remember what you told us during the sad questions earlier.
Yeah, like an hour ago.
I know, but
you're amazing and you deserve all this love. But also on a point of that, I will say this. Would I love to see some updates of the Ages games or even Link to the Past? Since that's the same Link as in Link's Awakening? Yeah. Yes, I would. But here's the thing. If they do that for any of those three, I do not want them to use the same toy box diorama art style that they used for Link's Awakening. I love that art style, but I feel it only really works for Koholint Island and doesn't work as well for Holodrum.
It needs a little bit more grit on it.
A little bit more darkness.
Because it needs a little more grit.
Look more like Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, that would work out.
Even though that's a different Link.
Yeah, because that would work.
Since we're looking at this, I know we don't. We're missing a couple games from this. I will say that if Triforce Heroes is on here, I would give that a B, and I would give Age of Calamity an S.
Yeah,
that's where I'd put those two missing ones.
Yeah.
Fun fact: a lot of people don't realize that Triforce Heroes Link is the same as Link Between Worlds Link.
Yes, I actually realized that one because the Link Between Worlds has the well, for starters, it has the actual canonic look for Triforce Heroes when he goes in between the two worlds, which that's the connection that goes in between everything. And everyone's like, wait, is this also the same one that's connected with Wind Waker? And then I'm like,
well, see, actually, no, Link Between Worlds, remember, he has his own art style.
Yeah.
Whereas the Triforce Heroes has more of the Toon style. That's part of why them calling him Toon Link kind of drives me up a wall because not all the Toon Links are the same.
Yeah, it's because literally the fact that when we have the Toon Link go into that, it's different Toon Links, so it's literally very confusing when Smash players goes in that. Also, why did he have ink hair? Ink hair?
Oh, if you mean pink. Do you mean pink from Link to the Past? He doesn't have pink hair. That's just the sprites.
Yeah.
And the sprite art, that's basically the sprite palette because that was a very early SNES game. And think about the comparison between his skin versus his hair. If they had his blondish hair with that Caucasian skin, no,
it wouldn't have worked.
It's the same reason that Mario has a big nose and a mustache. It works for the graphics.
It's iconic.
Real quick. I have to pee. Okay, I will be like I can't.
Actually, we're actually about to end right now. It's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock, so we have to send the love somewhere, and I want to send it to a person who's actually playing Legend of Zelda today. So let's look through my list right now because I have a few people.
Alex, you need to run while he's finding the ring.
Yeah.
I mean, I can pee really fast. Okay, I'm just.
BRB,
no worries. BRB. Okay.
Also, but real quick, while she's doing that, everyone, seriously. Hito, thank you so much for having Alex and me here. It has been a blast. Everyone, thank you for hanging out here and supporting Hito. He's fantastic. He's amazing. And Alex and I mean, we've both known Hito for like about a year now. Bye.